Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're here to do another Tesla video. It's been a while since I did a Tesla video here, and today we're actually here to talk about my top 10 favorite features of the Tesla. So I have had a Model 3 here for a very long time. I have the long range model here, and I've been putting it through its paces for over a year now, using all its features and everything like that. So after a year, over a year, I think it's a pretty good time to talk to you guys about my favorite features about owning a Tesla. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming tech is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
So the first feature we're going to talk about coming in at number 10 actually just came out in a recent update here, literally over the last couple of weeks. But I really like this feature, and that is every time you turn on the turning signal. So if I were to turn on the left-hand turning signal here right now while we're parked, or even while you're driving, of course, you can see that the camera on the left-hand side actually turns on while you're blinking. So it's really cool to be able to have that on there, because that means every time you're getting into the left lane somewhere, while you're on the highway and stuff like that, it actually shows you the camera so you can see someone on your blind spot, which is a really useful feature. I'm actually surprised it wasn't here before, but it literally just came out a couple weeks ago, and it was a really great surprise because I think it's really useful. It lets us see our blind spots, and it's just a cool feature to have, to be able to use these cameras in other ways that make sense. So camera while turning is what I'm going to call this, coming in at number 10. The next thing we're going to talk about here, coming in at number 9, is of course the Netflix and the whole theater experience on the Tesla. So this is one of the things that I first looked at when I first started hearing about a Tesla, and I thought was really cool, is that obviously you can watch Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, you can see now TikTok, YouTube, you have some Tesla tutorials on here, and you can take advantage of watching these things, you know, while you're charging and stuff like that, which is really awesome. You also have arcade games as well, so if you scroll over here, you can see you have all these different games you can play, like Sonic the Hedgehog, Sudoku, and you can even pair a controller to this if a game requires it. You even got Cuphead, Beach Buggy Racing, which is hilarious because you can actually use your wheel to actually play the game, which is awesome. While you're parked and stuff like that. Now, of course, you can only use the theater and the arcade mode while you're actually parked. That's pretty obvious here, but it is really cool to be able to, you know, watch these things while you're parked and stuff like that, while you're charging and stuff like that, so time goes by really fast. And I find myself actually using these features quite a bit when we've been on the road and stuff, to be able to watch these videos and stuff like that and have access to watch all these different things, and it works really well. I'm super happy with it, and I'm really glad that it's as good as I hoped it would be when I first heard about it. So coming in at number 9 is the Netflix and games while charging. One of the next awesome things that we got to talk about here is the fact that we can just get out of the car and not worry about locking our doors, closing windows, or having anybody else do that with their car, which is fantastic. Because if you have the app, which everyone on Tesla probably has the app because it has a lot of useful features, the app kind of acts as your key. So that means every time you walk away from your vehicle and you step away from it, it auto locks the doors, it auto locks all the windows. Even if the windows are all rolled down, it puts them all the way up and all that stuff. So you don't have to worry about ever locking your doors. You kind of just get out of your car and leave, and you don't have to worry about telling everyone else, like, hey, are your windows up? Hey, did you lock your door? All that stuff is handled by itself. And if for some reason one of the doors are left unlocked in a slight way, like mine's slightly open there, or if I leave my trunk open for some reason and I forget, you get an alert on the app telling you, hey, your trunk is open. Hey, your door got left open a little bit. All that kind of stuff, which has been useful because that happened to me once already, where one of my friends left the door who we thought he closed, but it wasn't fully closed, and I was able to find that out later and see on the app 2 minutes later, like, hey, you left your door open. So fantastic for the app to be able to act as your key for those reasons, and it's been immensely useful and so much better than worrying about locking your doors and stuff like that. So coming in at number 8 is definitely the app used as a key. The next thing we got to talk about here, coming in at number 7, is Sentry mode. So Sentry mode is, of course, the capability here that you can actually use all the cameras, the front camera, the rear camera, the left and the right, and it kind of just records different events when it needs to happen, and you can kind of scroll through and look at all the different events. I'm not going to do it now so it doesn't show the location of where I am, but it's awesome because you can have this turned on when you're at home, if you have a driveway, you're parked on the street, if you're at ShopRite or something and somebody comes close to your car, it instantly records for you. So you know if someone scratches your car, you know who it was because they're right on camera and they're being tracked by every different angle. So like I said, front, rear, left, and right. So it's really cool to be able to see that taking place, and it will definitely save you one day. You know, if someone tries to steal your car, you know exactly who it is because you have it on camera, and you can access this right off your phone too. So these clips that are being recorded obviously are stored on a USB thumb drive that are sitting over there, but they actually do, you actually are able, if you can connect to your car, kind of look at it on your phone, which is really, really cool. So you can actually, watch these videos and save them if you need to, share them with the police, whatever it may be if your car was stolen. So really, really cool. Coming in at number 7 is definitely Sentry mode. The next one here coming in at number 6 is something I actually have not used a lot, but I still find myself really, really fascinated by it. And of course, that is the Autopilot mode. So Autopilot on this vehicle here, for those of you guys who don't know, there's 2 different variations of Autopilot. So there is the standard one that everyone gets with the Tesla, which basically is a more high-end version of what we're used to with cars, where on most cars that I've had before with Autopilot, basically what it did is you were able to turn on Autopilot and set it to like a speed, like 60 miles an hour, for example, and then the car would keep that speed, but it wouldn't stop for you based on the car in front of you. You would still have to do that. It would just keep the speed at 60. So if you knew you were on a highway and there was no cars and you're driving at midnight or something, you can just, the car would kind of drive for you and not have to worry about, doing stuff like that. But on a Tesla, what the experience you get is that it will actually stop for you. So if you set the car to 60 miles an hour and on Autopilot on a highway, it will actually stop and go for you. So you don't have to worry about doing anything. It will drive and stay in lane and all that kind of stuff, as long as you're in one lane. You can't switch lanes automatically. You'll have to do that yourself. But it will drive in the same lane, and if a car starts slowing down, it will slow down the car for you and then continue to speed back up and go back to that 60 miles an hour. So it's definitely a more advanced version of Autopilot, and that comes free with all the Teslas. And then, of course, there's the other version that you can do as well, which means that you can actually take your Tesla and actually have it drive in city streets and stuff. That does require an additional charge. I think it's now up to $12,000. That is not something I have. You could pay for it per month, which is what I do sometimes if I'm in like the summer months and stuff like that, and I know I'm going to be using, driving a lot and stuff like that. But since I find myself going to work most of the time and stuff and barely doing that, it's not something that I usually activate very often. So just so you guys know, that feature is there. It is fascinating, and I have used it a couple times, and it is really cool to have the car drive yourself, especially in the city streets, and turn lanes for you and do everything for you that a car would do. But it's still in beta and requires a lot of manual intervention, where sometimes it's like at a 6-way stop and it doesn't know what to do, and you may have to push the car forward. But you can see where the technology is going, and that's why it's on this list, and it's improving every day as more drivers are using Autopilot. So I'm excited to see what the future holds, but for right now, I'm using the regular advanced Autopilot that comes free standard all the time, and that's been awesome. And then I'm looking forward to the future of when the other advanced Autopilot keeps continuing to get better, and we'll see where that heads us. But Autopilot coming in at number 6. The next thing we're going to talk about here coming in at number 5 are the Easter eggs. So this is what really makes me happy as an owner to own a Tesla. I'm going to be 100% honest. And it's the Easter eggs that you find with this car. So you can see here we're on the toy box area here, which is where a lot of these Easter eggs are. And you can see we have things like a light show, which is ridiculous, where you can park your car outside and enjoy your car doing a light show. It will literally flash the high beams and open the windows and go to a theme of a song, and then they update it sometimes for the Christmas season. Your trunk will open up and down. It will just do all these ridiculous things and kind of put on a light show for you, which is just hilarious and fun. And then you got things like the boom box on here, so you can go ahead and connect media on that USB stick that I talked about before, and you can replace your horn with all of these different things, which is really hilarious. So when you're parked, you can, honk your horn, and it will play whatever clip you want from a different soundtrack. So, for example, I have the Mario Kart song when I press my horn, and it will do things like that. It's really, really fun. For these types of features that are on here. Again, here's a romance one, so you can get cozy in the car. It will turn on a nice fire pit or a fire screensaver here while you're playing, and it will turn the heat all on and play romantic music while you're parked. It's hilarious and fun. You have a Santa sleigh mode, so you can, as you drive, just say ho, ho, ho all the way there, spread cheer, and sing jingle bells on the outside of your car. All of these weird and wacky things that I think make Tesla Tesla. And I really enjoy these extra features. Are they necessary? Absolutely not. But I have a lot of fun when they add these weird features like this. And there's even more features to talk about, with the voice chat and stuff, that you can do different things on opening different ports of the car, like you can open up the charging port by just telling, instead of saying open charge port when you talk to the voice command, you can just say open butthole and it will open it up. So it's just quirky and stupid things like that make us all laugh and have fun with the Tesla that I really, really enjoy. So Elon Musk, if you're listening to this, continue adding these features because I have a ton of fun with them. So Easter eggs coming in at number 5. Next thing we're going to talk about here coming in at number 4 is charging the car at home. The fact that I never have to go to a gas station anymore is kind of a surreal experience from where we were, where I was back then, where I always had to worry about, hey, I have to leave early for work to go charge a car, all that kind of stuff. And it's just crazy that is not something you need to do anymore. Obviously, as you can see here, I have a Tesla wall charger sitting right here that I had installed. It cost about $500 to install it, and then I forget exactly how much the actual charger cost, but obviously the charger costs something, and then to get it installed costs like $500 or a little less. And then now I can just come in here and just have the Tesla charged right there, as you can see, plug it in, and my car is fully ready to go at 7 a.m. anytime. And it's just an awesome experience to not have to worry about gas stations anymore or anything like that. And it's just awesome. Obviously, it'd be a harder sell for a Tesla, in my opinion, if I didn't have a charger at home. If you were going to worry about always going to a supercharger and always have to worry about like, hey, it's going to take me 20 to 25 minutes to go to these chargers and have to sit there, that may be something you have to consider depending on how far you drive and how often you're going to have to do that. But for me, having both options where I can say, hey, I can charge at a supercharger if I'm going away on a trip or something like that, which is awesome, and it's a much cheaper than gas, obviously, and it's fantastic. But the main selling point here is that I can wake up to essentially a full charge every time I get into my car and never have to worry about that kind of stuff again. So being able to charge at home and charging in general, having an electric car in general, is what comes in at number 4. The next thing we got to talk about here, coming in at number 3, is of course over-the-air updates. Now, having a Tesla is kind of like having an iPhone. I'm going to be 100% honest. I have gotten at least one update a month, sometimes a couple every month, of just adding new features to the car. And if that's not for you, that's fantastic. But for me, that's awesome. I love the fact that my car is smart enough that it's always getting smart, always adding new features. Like the first feature I talked about in this video, where now when you you use your blinkers, you actually see a video feed. Obviously, you wouldn't get things like that on a regular car if they didn't do over-the-air updates. And I love that Tesla has this, because every year we look forward to, hey, what's the new version going to have? A version 12. What's it going to include? What's it going to do? What new applications are we going to get? What new games are we going to get? What new music services are going to come to the car? All that kind of stuff that we always look forward to for our iPhones and phones are now kind of built into our car. And I really think that that's awesome, and I think that that's cool. And obviously there's some people who are worried about that, because they're like, hey, we don't want DLC for our car here. So I know that's a little bit something that's already started, where they're sometimes like, hey, give us $1,000 more after you bought your car, and we'll unlock the ability to be able to do heated seats, even though your car has heated seats already. If it's handled like fine, I'm not like that worried about it, because obviously we were paying for heated seats before as an additional charge. So if we didn't get it before, it's just nice that your car has it and you can pay for it if you want to and unlock it later in your car. So it depends on how you read that situation. They can't take advantage of us by, charging us for that up front and then charging us again to unlock it. But if I wasn't getting heated seats and I wasn't paying for it at the start of the car like I haven't before, but then a year down the line I'm like, you know what, I want to pay $1,000 to get those heated seats. I couldn't do that in a car before. I would have to obviously get a whole new car, because it's not included in my car. And here on things like this, you may be able to do it via a software update and just kind of unlock it, because your car already has it. So again, that can swing both ways. It depends how companies handle it. But in general, I love over-the-air updates, because my car always feels fresh and new. Ever since I had my car, I even got a completely new dashboard experience and stuff, which I think is really fun to be able to get like a new user experience. When I first got my car is very different to what I have now. And I'm the tech guy, so I love stuff like that. I know that may not be for everyone, but the fact that Tesla leans into that is why I love it so much. So over-the-air updates coming in at number 3.
And the next one here, coming in at number 2, is the actual Tesla app itself. I mean, there's a lot of different features that you can manipulate on here. You can see your car, exactly how many miles are on your car, as you're seeing here, which you can mess with. You can unlock and start your charging. If you have it plugged in, you can change all of these settings here. If you hold down these icons, you can change all the 4 icons that are up there that you want to have the most access to. So you can unlock your door right from there, turn on the interior heat if you need to, open the front trunk if you want to, start the car, defrost it, all of these different things. Of course, scrolling down, you have all of these different features like climate control. You can see your location, your schedule, all the drivers that are on there, all your charging stats. So you can do some software upgrades if you want, by either buying an acceleration boost or into the enhanced pilot, full driving capability if you want to do that. All that kind of stuff is kind of all still there. You can subscribe to that full self-driving for per month charge. The app is definitely something that makes Tesla, because there's a lot of different things you can do in the app. If somebody's actually driving your car and they're coming home or wherever the destination may be, it's actually going to pop up right here, and it will tell you like, hey, that person who has it in the GPS, they're going to arrive back home in like 22 minutes, and it will tell you exactly where the car is and how long it's going to take to get home, or how long it's going to take for them to reach the destination, which is also a really cool feature if it's a family car, to see, you know, where people are, where your kids may be driving the car, if you have kids driving it, all that kind of stuff. So Tesla app definitely coming in at number 2.
And the last one here, coming in at number 1, is the large touchscreen. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. When I first looked at a Tesla and I started looking into them, I had no idea how crazy fast they were. Like, that was not something that was on my mind. I have had fast cars before, but it wasn't something I technically leaned into or anything like that. But what I didn't lean into when I found this car is I saw the touchscreen. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that screen is huge. As somebody who loves technology, it's going to be awesome to have a car with this large of an iPad essentially in front of you, to be able to see everything the car can do, touch the screen and play music, all that kind of stuff. That makes me excited about owning a Tesla, and that's exactly what I've experienced in the past year and a half. I love having a large touchscreen like this. I will never want to go back to cars that have like a screen that are like this big now, because this is so much better. Being able to play music, select music, looking at a GPS, all that stuff is 10 times better than it ever was on any car in the future, and it is because of this large touchscreen. And I love everything about this large touchscreen, and I never want to go back to a smaller screen. So it definitely makes my number 1 reason of why I love owning a Tesla, because everything operates from this touchscreen. It may be a simple thing that it's just large, but everything that I work with in this car and everything that makes this car awesome and fun, like watching Netflix and everything we talked about, comes from having a large touchscreen. If you had a screen that was this big, listening to music and selecting things wouldn't be fun. Listening to Netflix and watching stuff like that wouldn't be fun if the screen was this big. So it is a big deal in my opinion, and I have a ton of fun with it, and it makes my number 1 on this list. Alright guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed that list of my top 10 favorite features on the Tesla. It's been a while since I've done a video. There'll be another video coming out with my tips and tricks here in the next week or so, here at the end of the year, of tips and tricks of telling you how to do certain things. But I'm loving my Tesla even a year later, and I just wanted to let you guys know that by giving you guys all these different features that really make me happy to own a Tesla, and what kind of separates it from owning other cars that I've had in the past. I've had a Mazda RX-8 back in the day. I used to love that car. I've had a Nissan Altima back in the day. It was one of my first cars, and let's not forget my Geo Prism back in the day. I'll never forget that car, because that was my first car that I had when I was a kid, when I first started driving. But going from those things to this is just a very different experience. Kind of feels like I'm living a little bit in the future of where we're going with this car, and it's really, really awesome to have a car like this with all of these different features that we talked about. So, guys, if you guys have any questions about what you guys have seen in today's video, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.